Yes.
Okay, okay.
Now I'm doing admit all, okay?
Okay, yes.
Spotlight you first, Susie.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Where are you? I can't.
Thank you, Gauri.
You're welcome.
Let me know when to begin.
Yeah, so 2 minutes at 4:30. Let's start. Let's not waste.
Okay, yes.
I have disabled the waiting room, so everyone who is there will join.
Who's admitting them inside? There are around about 12 people waiting.
Yeah, I am admitting them. Now I've removed the waiting room option only. So now anyone who is there will be admitted. गौरीजी तुम्हाला मी स्पॉटलाइट वर ऍड केलंय म्हणजे एव्हरीवन विल बी एबल टू सी यू.
Mahesh is already logged in, no?
Yes.
Welcome, Maheshji.
I have added him also on the spotlight, so that becomes a little easier.
Good evening, Gaurish bhai.
Good evening, sir. Good evening.
Pratima, how are you?
Fine, thank you, Dr. Mahesh.
Hi, good evening, Pratima. Good evening, Gaurish.
Good evening.
Sanjana here.
Hi, Sanjana.
Hi.
Hi.
Good evening, Gaurish sir, Pratima ma'am, and good evening, Dr. Mahesh sir. This is Dr. Pallavi Deshpande here.
Oh, was it there? It's 4:30. Should we start or should we wait for some time? Gauriji, can I request you to unmute yourself? I've muted everyone. Huh.
Yeah. The chief guest is already there, Madam Pratima.
Yes, Pratima ji is already there.
So I think you can start. Not an issue. We have already 478 people there.
Yes, yes. So, Susie, we could start.
Okay, good evening. Good evening, dignitaries of Rotary District 3170. Good evening, Chief Guest. Good evening, all guests, RI Director, Host Club, co-hosts, Rotarians, and my dear friends. As you all know, today we are here to celebrate the National Girl Child Day. And to celebrate this, Rotary District 3170 has taken a wonderful initiative to have an interactive talk on girl empowerment by none other than the accomplished Mrs. Pratima Kirloskar of Kirloskar Innovations. As the host club of this event is RC Gargis Kolhapur, and the co-hosts are RC Panjim Riviera, Goa, RC Seven Hills, Dharwad, and RC Ichalkaranji Textile City. So I think everybody has arrived and we can move on to begin this event without wasting much time by beginning with the Rotary protocols. To begin with, I request the President and Secretary of the host club, Rotary Club of Gargis Kolhapur, to call themselves. Rotarian Deepika Kumbhoskar and Rotarian Anagha Pendharkar. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome once again, everybody, and good evening. To move forward, I request everybody to maintain 1 minute silence for world peace and understanding. Thank you. To move forward, we will now recite the national anthem together, and I request everybody to remain standing in their places.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
Please remain standing. I request everyone to say the four-way test after me. Let's start. Of all the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth?
Susie, you
Okay.
could read on everyone's behalf because it will be difficult for
Okay.
them to.
Okay. Of all the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you. Please remain seated, everybody. Yeah. Okay. Now let us begin with the main program. I request our event chairperson of the day, Rotarian Gauri Shirgaonkar, who is also the District Secretary for Girl Empowerment of District 3170. Over to you, Gauri. Kindly extend your welcome, Gauri.
Thank you, Susie. Thank you, Sujata ji, for the lovely introduction. Welcome, everyone. Respected Pratima ji, DG Gaurish ji, and First Lady Pratima ji, RI Director Dr. Mahesh Kotbagi ji, Galaxy of Changemaker Presidents, Secretaries, and District Officers, fellow Rotarians, along with school students and their teachers. It is my privilege to welcome all of you as the District Secretary, Girl Empowerment 21-22. A warm welcome to all of you on behalf of Rotary District 3170. A world without a girl is as impossible as a world without water. Today, January 24th, is celebrated as a National Girl Child Day in India. Every little girl is nation's pride, and she is the future. Empowering girl is empowering our future. With this thought, we have invited today an eminent personality, Mrs. Pratima Kirloskar, to talk about empowerment of the girl child. We also have along with us today Rotary International Director Dr. Mahesh Kotbagi ji, who will talk about girl child from the point of view of Rotary International. While DG Gaurish ji will give us a perspective of the importance of girl child from the work done by District 3170. We believe that an empowered girl is better equipped woman to take her own decisions. Alone, we are a drop, but together we are an ocean. This line best describes my feeling today. I'm happy to announce that today we have a participation of 56 Rotary clubs, 2 Rotaract clubs, and 1600 plus students who have registered for the event today. Some of us who have joined us in the meeting right now, and some of us who will be joining us from the Rotary Club of Gargi's YouTube channel. This dream of meeting all of you wouldn't have been possible without the support of my Girl Empowerment District team. A special shout out to the DCCs Aarti Mangalani, Tara Devi Wali, Tanvi Sawant, and RDCs Harriet Fernandez, Meghna Sherke, Megha Gangan, Dr. Shamim Patel, Yogita Kamath, Shefan Sheikh. Thank you, a special thank you to Gauri Hiremat, District Secretary Interact, and Kishorji Dhume, along with all other district officers who helped us organize this wonderful event today. Without wasting much time, I welcome you all again to relish today's program and hope it gives you a direction to think about the importance of the girl child. Thank you. Over to you, Sujata. Yeah, one sec, I'm unmuting you.
Okay, thank you, Gauri. That was a lovely initiative led by you on behalf of the District 3170. Congratulations to the entire team and committee members for this wonderful initiative. I now request our District Governor, DG Rotarian Gaurish Dhon, to come forward to express his views to one and all.
Good evening, friends. President Deepika, the event chair Gauri, the chief guest and the keynote speaker today, Madam Pratima ji, our beloved director, Rotary International Director for 2021-23, Dr. Mahesh Kodbagi, my club presidents and my extended family in Rotary. Well, first of all, hearty congratulations on National Girl Child Day to all of you, my dear friends. Gauri, you have taken a great initiative of organizing this program. We have a wonderful speaker in Pratima who's going to speak on various aspects about girl empowerment. I know for all of you who would like to know more about 3170, this is a district, a special district which comprises of 3 states, 3 different cultures, and 3 different languages. And believe me, it's so wonderfully placed that we've taken up so many projects. You talk about Karwar. This club has taken up a beautician program for a month-long program there for the young girls. The girls are trained on beautifying courses. There are various clubs in Dharwad also who are taking care about rural girls for education. In Karnataka, Maharashtra and Goa, we have conducted many menstrual hygiene management awarenesses. Use of eco-friendly sanitary napkins are also being conducted. There's a project called Prerna, focusing on female health, hygiene, education, and empowerment, which is taken over by conducted by many of our clubs in our district. Especially Kagil Club in Kolhapur donating hearing aids, the kids, especially a girl child, thus improving her quality of life. That almost cost about 90,000 rupees for the hearing aids. Then again, many of the clubs had started a program called Gudiya Rani that was on 1st of July, who donated newly born baby kids to the mothers in especially the district and the government hospitals in those parts. Hubli, again, there are many clubs who have taken up a project, various projects, but one special project was of swimming classes, which they were conducting in a Jain temple hall. I personally went. I saw about 30 young girls were there, and 4 or 5 machines kept there, and they were being trained how to do, because they could do something of their own, not be dependent on others. It is said, one girl child with courage is a revolution. And believe me, the words are really true. We have the ladies who have already been ruling the states, like Mamata Banerjee. We have a finance minister of India, who is Nirmala Sitharaman ji. The woman, basically the minister for child and women development, Smriti Irani ji, who heads this portfolio. And she's been doing wonderful work throughout India for upliftment of the young girls and women. Many clubs have also conducted entrepreneurship orientation program for the development of adolescent girls. Various clubs in Karnataka, Maharashtra, and Goa. These are few of our programs which we have been doing. We have this year embarked on Happy School projects, and basically we are sending a girl child back to school in Asha Kiran. Just pay 2,500 rupees to Rotary International Literacy Mission, and a child is sent back to school, and especially a girl child. We have also tried to identify 6,500 deserving young girls in the remotest parts of Karnataka, Maharashtra, and Goa, where they require a bicycle. And we're trying to find out corporate donors and CSR partners to join with us to give these 6,500 bicycles to students of 8th, 9th, and 10th, especially the girl child. And I have seen, I was in Pashan, a little further to Sangli, and the girl child has to walk from their house to reach that school for almost 7 to 8 kilometers every day morning, and come back with an empty stomach. It was taking them almost 45 minutes to reach school. So we thought, let us give bicycles to the school children so that we can empower them. So these are few of the projects where my Rotarians have been doing extremely well. And I thank you, Gauri, and the entire club, the Parivar of Kolhapur, who have come forward to celebrate this National Girl Child Day. I would like to also welcome, on behalf of 3170 and 6,400 Rotarians, Mrs. Pratima Kirloskar, for coming here today, giving us a valuable time. And we look forward to hear you now. And again, we would like to call you for various programs wherever. Please accept our invitations. And thank you for being with us today. Thank you. Over to you, Gauri.
Thank you, sir. Susie, over to you. Unmute yourself.
Thank you, Gauri. That was a wonderful rounding up and highlighting elaboration of the wonderful work that Rotary District 3170 is doing for girl empowerment throughout the year. So thank you, DG Gaurish Donji, for the wonderful talk. Thank you, sir. I now request RI Director Rotarian Mahesh Kodbagi, who is present with us here today, to express his views.
A very, very good evening, friends, all of you. What a lovely day it is. When I think Gauri sent me a message, it did say that the Girl Child Day. I feel every day is a Girl Children's Day. It's not one single day. So it's not something like a Women's Day that the world celebrates only for marketing purpose. Because we all are surrounded so much in and around so many women and girls in life. Look at Gaurish Bhai. Pratima dominates him. She's sitting next to him. And जोपर्यंत Pratima madam त्यांना काही सांगत नाहीत, परवानगी देत नाहीत, तोपर्यंत Gaurish Bhai काही बोलू शकत नाहीत.
Mahesh, you are also a father of 2 daughters.
Not only that, but if you see Gaurish Bhai's entire family, his children, then even his Sunbai, daughter-in-laws, I think they all are on the forefront of working, professionalism, and gone are all that days, that there is something which a girl or a woman cannot do it. I'm going to speak to you a couple of my, thoughts on this profile. in mixed language because Gauri told me you have Kannada, you have Marathi, and you have also English. First of all, you also have a very eminent speaker, Pratima Kirloskar. I knew that she used to work for women literacy, NGO called Ashtanokai Foundation, which then almost 25 years back, even I had a little privilege to work with that kind of a trust. And why I'm trying to link that, some of my memories with that is, we had adopted around about 15 villages in those days. And I had done a survey that before we give a platform to girls or women for either education or for empowerment, and after we give them this platform, what is the face changing or what is the confidence level changing? And we had done a lot of recordings and statistical analysis on that. And we called them at some of the conference forums, some of the get-together gatherings. And there was a phenomenal change which I could see in a very shorter time. Another lady who is a very good friend of mine is Leela Punawala. You must have heard that she always, bestows scholarships. And even that time I saw that if at all there is some promotion for education for women, I think there is a lot of facelift. If you see Leela Punawala's foundation's website, you will see so many scholars who did not have their own self-funding, but through the platform of these kind of funding, they could, easily get the entire global exposure. So the entire concept is very different. Coming back, 1947, we got the independence in this country. And from 1947 till 2022, म्हणजे स्वातंत्र्यानंतर 1947 ते 2022 सालामध्ये, if at all I can see, I still cannot see that there is a 100% women literacy percentage which is coming and which is getting achievable. In fact, through Rotary, specifically Rotary India Literacy Mission, RILM, we have, completely put this program on a forefront, which was after polio program, that how can we make this entire country 100% literate? And मुलींनो आणि सगळ्या आजच्या जमलेल्या समुदायांना मी सांगतो, few years back when we started this mission, people started laughing at us. And I know that because even 30 years back, when we said that we'll eradicate polio from the world, they were also laughing. And that time we used to have around about 10,000 children getting disabled born per day. And today we have 0, thanks to the polio eradication program done by Rotary. And now we said, we will make 100% India literate. So you can understand what kind of a program we are trying to go ahead. You all must go and see this program called Rotary Teach or rilm.org. And you can see so many programs what we are doing in schools, at Asha Kiran programs where we are funding children. We are providing e-education in different languages. And we are giving great opportunity for equality of education. आमच्याकडे अजून एक प्रोग्राम आम्ही आणला रिसेंटली आता इंट्रोड्यूस केला at the international level. And the Rotary International says that there should be a diversity, there should be inclusion. So basic concept was there should not be any differentiation. See, in historical, India talks lots and lots of laurels about equality of women. Let us see in your own areas. I heard Gaurish Bhai talking about politicians, representation by so many, women entrepreneurs or women individuals. But still today, it has got only a reservation. The decision making, even if you see a politician create today, the decision making of women politicians today, even today, 2/3 depends on either their partners, husband, or some political man family, and which is not expected today. I think today is a day, none of you should ever feel that because I'm a girl or I'm a woman, there is something which is impossible. In terms of the global world is concerned, I think the law of equality is completely inclusion. You are allowed to include everywhere. Now in India, what we should actually focus more is the recent laws which came up was about the abuse and harassment in the industries, in the office premises, in the school education system. I think that has to be more and more stronger. In our culture, sometimes these kind of episodes and experiences, they feel people to take a back foot. Even I know so many girls who left the school education after menses because there was no toilet in the school, there was no clean water in the school, and the parents said, "Ki now you should not go to the school because that school does not have a facility of either a separate changing room or a women's toilet or clean water drinking facilities." I think we are doing all this under one roof of Rotary. There are so many good NGOs like Rotary who are also doing a lot and lot of programs of this particular aspect. Now, in terms of education is concerned, we are also giving a priority for education. And in terms of functional literacy is concerned, which is a very, very important subject. Again, I'm coming back to the basics. In India, the adult illiterate percentage is much higher than the teenage or the young age students. Now, what happens with the adult illiterates? Adult illiterate, once they come into either the money earning format or a family format, they are unable to come and accept anything of this. I think someone is sharing a screen share, I think. Yeah. So the biggest mission today is how to make the adults literate. So at the end, I am only going to give my one message is, you all are listening to us. You all are educated. Either your parents or someone who was very, very good and kind to you gave an opportunity for access of knowledge. See and look around. There must be a gardener, driver, there must be a, anyone house-made worker. If at all you find that they are not educated, please give them some functional literacy, which is going to help a lot. You have to understand, culturally also and socially also, if the lady in the family is literate, then it's much easier that her children becomes literate. And if at all we make that illiteracy at home, then the next cycle of making education to the next generation becomes stagnant. And that's the reason 2 or 3 aspects what we are looking at is, one is functional literacy. So women can live a good life with pride, equality, and with keeping their head high. Because earning and empowering them will give them a very good status. Second, I requested that each adult who's illiterate around you, you must have some crash courses. And I'll ask Gaurish Bhai to supply you some kind of a material. For functional literacy, there are different kinds of curriculums. It's not a normal educational program, which is available in multiple languages. And if at all there's crash courses can be given to the adult illiterate, I think that will be a great help. And third, but not the last, I said about abuse and harassment. And for that, it is essential that even you should be strong mentally, physically, emotionally, learning the self-defense techniques and not feeling bad. This kind of a methodology should not be there. And for all those mothers, you should never ever tell your daughter or even a daughter-in-law that if there is abuse in the family, do not go ahead for separation because what society will say. In fact, you should always tell her, I have lived a very good life. We have treated you like a princess in the house. So if at all you're ill-treated or bad treated in any family, please tell us very openly. And if required, you come back to our house and the house doors are open. And I think that confidence is to be given for a self-respect. That days are totally gone, that one should feel embarrassed of separations or talking very openly about a good touch, bad touch, abuse, harassment. And I think come out very openly, unleash your potential. That's all I can say. And all the best for this particular forum. And I congratulate all the organizers for thinking of this subject at the right time. So thank you once again and nice meeting all of you. Namaskar.
Thank you, Maheshji, for the wonderful insights about the Rotary initiatives with respect to RILM and empowerment for the girl child, and also to create awareness about the inclusiveness of women into Rotary. Thank you so much, sir. To move further, we come to the main program where we have the talk by Pratima Tai. And before that, I would like to invite Rotarian Gauri Shrigaonkar, our event chairperson, to introduce the lady herself, Mrs. Pratima Tai Kirloskar.
Good evening once again. Let me introduce Mrs. Pratima Kirloskar. It's my pleasure to introduce her. I'll just check if she's there so that I could even, could I put you as a spotlight, ma'am?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I will just put you, I'll add the spotlight. Okay, great. Mrs. Pratima Kirloskar is the president of Innovation Society, a platform helping entrepreneurs and startups to connect with the industry to fill specific gaps. She's one of the founders of the Indus Entrepreneurs, TAI, Pune chapter, an international non-profit organization that promotes entrepreneurs by mentoring, networking, and connecting them to funding agencies. It was started as an extension to the Mumbai chapter in 2001 and later formalized as Pune chapter in 2007. She is currently a member of Confederation of Indian Industry, CII, National Startup Council, member of Confederation of Indian Industry, Western Region Council, Western Region Head of Family Business Network, Subcommittee of CII, trustee on the Pune Police Public Foundation that runs a school for education of children of police constables, which is subsidized by the non-police admissions who are charged full tuition fee. She's also on the advisory committee of Pune Knowledge Cluster, started by scientific advisor to the Government of India to connect researchers, academicians, and the industry. She's chairperson of Vikas Charitable Trust, VCT, that runs a 87-year-old primary and high school and an 87-year-old healthcare center, and works with 40 schools in and around the Kirloskar Brothers Limited factory in Kirloskar Wadi. Over the last few years, she's also co-chaired the National CSR Committee of CII along with Mr. Mukund Rajan in 2016 and 2017 and 18. She's been on the governing council of KIAMS, which is Kirloskar Institute of Advanced Management Studies, as one of the members of the founder promoter organization. She's been a trustee on Ashtanakai. Am I saying it right?
Yeah, Ashtanakai, yes, that's right.
Ashtanakai, which means for better tomorrow, an NGO initially supported by Japanese philanthropists to improve 7 villages in Pune. The NGO was focused on education and creation of self-help groups for women and children. She was a trustee on Pratham Pune, which is an education NGO that teaches children to read and write and make sure all children have an opportunity to go to school. She's worked with several NGOs in the field of health and education for women and children. She's conducted sessions on patents and how to apply for grant with Dr. Bhattacharya from National Institute of Health, USA. She's on the governing council of the India Design Council, a Government of India body. She's also an executive committee of Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry, FICCI, Maharashtra State Council. Mrs. Pratima Kirloskar started www.ourpune.com, an automated website for the social cause, in 2007. The website received complaints about roads in Pune city while keeping the complaints details anonymous. It had an escalation program of 36 hours for completion of road repair work. An exception report of work not done was presented to the municipal commissioner every day. This made a noticeable difference in the time taken to repair or upgrade roads. She enjoys working with weavers, especially using natural fabric, which she converts into table linen and home furnishing. Mrs. Pratima Kirloskar also belongs to the Kirloskar family that controls Kirloskar Brothers Limited, a 132-year-old industrial conglomerate. Welcome, ma'am, to our event today. And now I invite Mrs. Pratima Kirloskar to take stage and talk about girl empowerment.
Thank you all of you. And thank you, Gauri and Rotary, I've heard and I have experienced Rotarians and the kind of work they do. It's very, very impressive. I have to say, we do a lot of work in the Sangli area. So if there is something we can help, please do reach out to us, and Gauri knows how to contact me, and I'd be happy to help in that area. Dr. Kodbagi, he spoke of what we can do for women empowerment. And I will be stressing more on the girl child. So I think we will have a wider spread, because there are other points which we could, in the course of our discussion, talk about what we can do for women as well. And all the points he said were very well taken. And could we start the slideshow,
Yes.
please?
Yes.
Yeah. So when we talk of empowerment, we talk of all kinds of empowerment, whether it's economic, financial. So good evening and happy National Girl Child Day for everyone today. Next slide, please. So in the next 30 minutes, I'd like to discuss what girl empowerment is and why it is needed and why it is relevant at all for all of us. And most importantly, how can we benefit from this? Next slide, please. Yes, children do need empowerment and protection. As per the United Nations, 1 in every 4 children under the age of 5 do not even survive. They are vulnerable to all the ills of society. Next slide. Children need empowerment, and millions of children below the age limit are pushed into the workforce, and more so in rural areas, where it is difficult to enforce the law in far-flung areas. Next slide. And the girl child is even more vulnerable. The projected number of brides under the permissible age limit is expected to be 100 million in the next 10 years, having a catastrophic impact on society. This has happened especially after the pandemic. Next slide, please. Hence, world over, governments have joined forces to ensure our girl child is protected and empowered with the rights and to fulfill her dreams. Next slide. The girl child empowerment in India includes lots of programs that are and schemes that our government has rolled out to promote and protect women and the girl child. So I've enumerated some of them, but of course, this is not enough. One needs to keep on adding to this list. Next slide, please. But all this social and business empowerment comes at a much later stage. The question is that all of you may be thinking, what can I contribute, even if I am a 15-year-old child? Next slide. So what girl empowerment starts with you. Do not sit and complain. There is no substitute for hard work and determination. There is no shortcut to success or hard work. And do not ask for reservations, as it only signals that you are weak. Do not depend on anyone. Just depend on yourself, trust yourself, and move forward. I have 2 inspiring real-life stories of people like you and me. So I will take a snapshot of the first, and the second I will only discuss. So could we have the first one, please?
...2011 में चलती ट्रेन से मुझे कुछ बदमाशों ने, मैं वॉलीबॉल चैंपियन भी रह चुकी हूँ, 2011 में चलती ट्रेन से मुझे बदमाशों ने एक गोल्ड चेन पहनी थी, चलती ट्रेन से मुझे उठा के बाहर फेंक दिया था। लखनऊ से दिल्ली आ रही थी मैं। कंपार्टमेंट में बहुत सारे, जनरल कंपार्टमेंट था, बहुत सारे लोग थे, किसी ने मना नहीं किया। एक प्लेयर का जो स्पिरिट होता है वो अपने आप, जब कोई छीनने की कोशिश करता कुछ भी, वो देता नहीं है। तो मेरे में भी था, मैंने मना किया और उन्होंने मुझे चलती ट्रेन से वो 4-5 तो उन्होंने बाहर फेंका। दुर्भाग्य ये था कि उसी समय दूसरी ट्रैक से ट्रेन आई और मैं उस ट्रेन में टकराई, फिर नीचे गिरी, दोनों ट्रेनें निकल गईं। कुछ देर बाद मैंने हाथ को ऐसे रख के उठने की कोशिश किया तो देखा कि मेरा पैर कट चुका था। थाई को उठा के देखा, मेरा पैर ऐसे जीन्स में लटका हुआ था, ब्लड फोर्सफुली निकल रहा, दूसरे पैर की हड्डियाँ टूट के बाहर निकल चुकी थी। पूरी रात मैं चिल्लाती रही ट्रैक पे, छोटे छोटे पत्थर होते ऐसे चिल्लाती रही कि कोई बचा ले, कोई नहीं आया बचाने। और जब पूरी रात चिल्लाते चिल्लाते इतना कि मुझे दिखाई भी देना बंद हो गया, जब ट्रेन आता था तो वाइब्रेट होता था। इतना ही नहीं, फ्री का इन्विटेशन भी लोगों को मिल गया था, कुछ लोगों को। ट्रैक पे आपने ट्रेन की ट्रैक पे छोटे छोटे चूहे देखे होंगे, मेरे कटे हुए पैर पे आग के मेरे पैर कुतर रहे थे।
So this was a situation that she got into, a huge accident. And what did she do? She had 2 options. Either she got depressed And here's a very inspiring story of what she did.
ना मेरे यूथ तक चला जाएगा, क्योंकि मैं चाहती थी कि 11 अप्रैल 2011 को मेरा एक्सीडेंट हुआ, 21 मई 2013 10:55 पे मैं टॉप ऑफ द वर्ल्ड पे थी। ऑलमोस्ट 1 से 2 साल के अंदर कैसे यहाँ से मैंने ये चीज, मैंने कभी भी कामयाब होने के, मेरी वो जिंदगी बन चुकी थी, मेरा जुनून बन चुका था, मेरा पैशन मेरा जिद बन चुका था। वो मेरा सोते उठते बैठते सिर्फ मुझे एवरेस्ट दिखाई जाए। और मुझे लगता है किसी को भी अगर अपना लक्ष्य पाना है, यहाँ से अगर वो पागलपन जब तक नहीं आएगा तब तक नहीं होगा वो।
Okay, so the next story is about this young girl who couldn't speak English very well. So they used to tease her that she couldn't speak. So every criticism that she got, she overcame by learning the language, by learning the diction, by going into the phonics of it. And today she can speak English. She is asked to host some CNN programs. So I feel that these are two young girls who have done something. They are from villages, and I thought they could be inspiring. So next slide, please. And what is it that empowered girls can do? I feel that you need not aim for the stars or have a goal that you cannot achieve. Start small, take baby steps, set moderate ambitions, then gradually increase them and raise the bar. Study a course online, half a day course, for example, master it, and then move on to the full day course. Then gradually increase it to 6 months course. Observe what you're good at and study it further. Let's look at what other young girls in our country like you have achieved. Next slide, please. There was this young girl who was 17-year-old Gayatri, never giving up the attitude, worked wonders for the entire village and saved them from hunger during the public distribution system when it abruptly stopped. There was no food for her. And she made a list of 910 families that needed food and went to the district collector who helped her out. So this does not need, it just needs a mindset to go out there and help. Next slide, please. There's another inspiring story of this 14, 15-year-old girl who makes an air bike that can be used for disabled people. Without pedals or without any fossil fuel, the air bike can run up to 60 kilometers on just 10 kilograms of compressed air pumped into a cylinder mounted on the bicycle. So you can see that by just looking around, Tejaswini hit upon this idea when she visited a bicycle repair store and saw the mechanics using air guns to detangle knots in a bicycle tire. Next slide, please. For health and sanitation in India's largest dumping ground, by using WASH, which is a water, sanitation, and hygiene program. A dumping ground is not where you would think empowerment can take place. But this 16-year-old Solmia proved everyone wrong. She was determined to act as a catalyst of social change. She promoted health and hygiene in Mumbai, where her neighbors were vulnerable to health problems because of it being one of largest India's dumping grounds nearby. Next slide. And yet, on one hand, you have people from villages who made it big. On the other hand, you have some other people who made it really big on the world scene. And these are not the only examples. We have Olympic champions who were abused and stones thrown at them for not winning. Yet they kept the courage and got us several gold medals. Our first lady, our first woman astronaut to go to outer space, or a billionaire industrialist, all came from middle-class families. Next slide. Empowering oneself through innovation. So how does one go about it? And here are a few simple steps. Determination, self-confidence, and the attitude to win, which you saw in the lady who had an accident. Go to YouTube. First of all, identify a local problem that you think you can solve. Go to YouTube, go to Google and look at how to do videos, get some ideas, and use social media to write to influential people and identify relevant Facebook groups. Make notes, pen down your thoughts, think why you failed and what you need to fix. Next slide. While you do all that, stay rooted in your culture. So at one end, you continue to leverage technology, you embrace new ideas, but stay rooted in your culture. One can say sky's the limit. However, I would still say be mindful of which country, state, city, town, village, and society you are staying in. Do not get carried away or misled by tall promises and dreams. There are many restrictions, but there are none for the following actions. So I would urge you to give this a thought. You need to create first your personality. You have to be a strong person by mind and body. You create a good personality. So to do that, you use sport. And you play some individual sports and you play a team sport. The team sport teaches you camaraderie, and it teaches you different lessons. One is teamwork, while the other one stresses on your own caliber. Learn a skill that can stay with you through your life. Any skill, any hobby, from ornithology, sewing, embroidery, knitting, cooking, pottery, hairdressing, wrapping, paper craft, interior decoration, all the way to astronomy. As a hobby, develop it over many years. It leaves behind a big skill. If you advance well in it, it can help you create a livelihood when all else fails. Remember, today you're young and fit. You don't know about tomorrow, but with these skills, you will be surprised how they can help you. Many women have used these to their advantage during the pandemic. Learn computer programming if you have an inclination for that. There are many jobs today that do not need traveling. And women can achieve the best of both worlds for those, especially in research, biotech, statistics, mathematics, analytics, can find places for you and you can gain expertise in it. So here, my issue is here that you choose a profession that is very easy for you to do and which you enjoy, and choose a sport that complements you and your skill set, which creates a personality. Next slide, please. Continue to learn from mythology. So whatever you do, you have to be grounded with values and balance. Mythology always teaches you something, like the Lakshman Rekha. It was symbolic, but taught us not to cross the line and stay within the framework. Even the gods were not above this. So even the gods had followed a Lakshman Rekha. You know, some of our old samskar that tell us, come home when the street lights are on. Just follow those, because they are literally rules that people from older generations have put down from experience. Let me tell you. So you have to be grounded and you have to use your samskar and your tradition and learn from them. So let me tell you, values may not yield you any money for sure, but they strengthen your character. And no one can withstand an uncompromised person's grit. You will be able to stand up for your values without fear. Our Indian philosophy has also taught us 4 ashrams in life. To create that balance in your life, if you follow the 4 ashrams the way they have taught us, I think you'll be a very well-rounded person. So what were those 4 ashrams? First was Brahmacharya, which said, stress on education, trust in your gurus and your teachers. The other is Grihast. Now that you've moved on from education, you go into a family life, you take care of the family, looking after the needs of the family and providing for them. Then you go to the Vanaprastha. That's now you help society. Use your knowledge and skill to help society benefit. Move on to the last ashram, that's the sannyas, where you go beyond society to a higher level of consciousness, look inwards, evolve, understand the universe. Usually, if you stick to these guidelines, you can develop into multifaceted, evolved, empowered human beings. Most of our scriptures are ready reckoners to life, but you can come to the same conclusion if you choose. If you choose to introspect, do not blame, but analyze, learn, and improve. Basically, values are nothing but a framework. They are the absolutes you will not trespass. Now, values may differ from community to community, but nevertheless, there are some absolutes like don't hurt, don't steal. So sometimes you learn from frames without you consciously knowing that it's actually teaching you something. Next slide. Following the framework. So let's start with, see, all of us have a framework within which we move and within which we act. When you go to school, there's a framework, there's a timing, everything is fixed, and you work within that time. So let's take engineering. It has the theory of constraints. It has rules and numbers, and all your solutions have to be guided by these known set rules to give you a solution. Else, the consequences can be disastrous. So an engineer sticks to the engineering rules. A sport, take any sport, it has a boundary, it has a frame, right? You can play within this frame, else you are disqualified. All your creativity is limited within this frame. So a sportsman's acumen is determined by how well he plays within his boundary or out of his boundary, like in cricket. So let's take music. You have rags, they are determined by, or in fact, before music, let's take painting. A painter has a frame, however large or small it may be, it's still a frame. And that is his limiting factor. He paints within that, he puts his ideas within that. They're not normally beyond that. Now let's come to music. Music has lesser frames, but it still has frames. You have ragas that are determined by a set of notes. These notes are put together in a lay. So if there's a particular lay, you can recognize a rag. And there's a particular beat that lay is set to. If the lay changes, the rag can change. So as long as you're singing with that lay and tal, you know what rag that person is in. You can sing in different rags, or you can have mixed rags. Now that's another story altogether. So there are certain mixed rags which you can mix them, and the compositions have less rules. Then the last of all, there's the sculptor. He is the odd man out. Now he has no frame. The frame is in his mind. Think about this. The closer you stand to a sculpture, you will only see some parts of it. As you move away, you will see more and more of the sculpture. As you move really far away, you will start seeing everything around the sculpture. And there'll be one point when the sculpture will fail to, you won't see it at all. So finally, it's a perspective of what you see. So that's what I feel is that, so art and imagination allows the most freedom, but all of us need to make sense of the freedom we have, know the constraints to even appreciate it. That's where I feel you must know your limitations, but you can still think out of the frame or out of the box. So to know what is out of the box thinking, you should know what the box is, so that you can think out of the box yet not break all the rules. The future is yours to create. One can only point the direction, but the runners have to be you. In your own way, you can create a change. Look at the many small problems around you, access information, collate it, find a solution. All knowledge has to be applied. And this happens only when you use innovation. In innovation, you do not have to invent anything new. You just have to improvise a technique or method or model that has worked, which has worked well in one area, and it can and apply it to another area and see how it works there. Sometimes it can help solve problems. I'll give you a small example. There was a software made to track underground landmines, which failed. But guess what it was used for? It was used to track down termites by the pest control company. So there are many failed technologies that can find use in another area. Look for them. Remember, today is never coming back to you. Is not coming back, but you can still start today. There could be hope for you for tomorrow. You can make this life as interesting or as boring as you choose. Make a wise decision. Do not while away your youth and time. As you get older, your energy levels drop. Do for the thrill of finding solutions. When you enjoy doing work, it's not work at all. See the results. They're phenomenal. That's the best type of empowerment. You innovate. The minute you innovate, you have a larger world open to you. Next slide. So what are you waiting for? For the right opportunity to make your story. So the right opportunity is here and today. So I think you start improving your skills, and that's when a whole new world starts opening to you. Because the more you ask, the less you will get. But the more you create, the more you will spread. So with that, I thank you for calling me. And if there are questions, I could take them.
Thank you, Pratima ji, for talking about girl empowerment. मी जर आता मराठीत बोलते. जर कोणाला आता प्रतिमाजींनी आपल्याला महिला सबलीकरण, महिला किंवा मुलीच्या सबलीकरणाबद्दल बोललेले आहेत, तर आपल्यापैकी कोणालाही काही प्रश्न विचारायचे असतील त्यांना, if anyone wants to ask her any questions, you can either raise your hands, or if you want to talk to her, you want to tell her something, you want to share your life stories with her, please put your hand up, raise your hand so that I will spotlight you, I will unmute you, and then you could talk with her. जर कोणाला काही प्रतिमाताईंना मराठी येतं, हिंदी येतं आणि इंग्लिश येतं, त्यामुळे okay, I can see Abhishek who has raised hand. I am spotlighting Abhishek. एक minute. Abhishek, you will have to start your video for me to spotlight you. Okay. If you have any questions, you can even put those questions in the chat box. I don't see, I think Abhishek by mistake raised his hand. I have a question, Pratima ji, for you till people think about it. You spoke about, okay, I can see Divya Mashelkar. I can always ask my question later. Divya, could you unmute yourself, please, and start your video? Divya Mashelkar. Okay, she raised the hand by mistake. Okay. So my question to you was that you are the president of the Innovations Society. So could you share with us की आपण innovations नी कसं change आणू शकतो आणि कसं आपण innovations नी बदल आणू शकतो?
So, I think we had started a small website called apuni.com, like Amchi Pune. And that was because of the roads. There was a time in 2007 when the roads in Pune, पुण्याचे रस्ते खूप खराब झाले होते, खूप खड्डे होते, लोकांचे ऍक्सिडेंट्स होत होते. तर आम्हाला दोन प्रकारचे विचार आम्ही करू शकलो. या तर तुम्ही जाऊन कंप्लेंट करा, या तर जाऊन PMC ला मदत करा. तर आम्ही मदतीचा हात देऊन पुढे गेलो की तुम्हाला आमची मदत काय पाहिजे. तर त्यांचं म्हणणं होतं की आम्हाला माहिती नाही की कोणचे रस्ते खराब झाले. तर आम्ही पूर्ण पुण्याचे रस्ते मॅप केले आणि 4च त्याचे प्रॉब्लेम्स घेतले. एक, कुठे खड्डे आहेत, कुठे पाणी साठतंय, कुठे रबुल आहे, किंवा कुठेतरी मॅनहोल उघडा जर असला, तर हे फक्त 4 प्रॉब्लेम्स आम्ही सॉल्व्ह करू शकतो, म्हणजे ते PMC बरोबर त्यांच्या मदतीनं. तर आम्ही वेबसाईट असा केला, लोक जेव्हा पुढे अडकले ते कंप्लेंट केलं आणि आम्ही एका 36 तासात तो रिपेअर करून मग आम्ही त्यांना विचारायचो की आता तुम्ही खुश आहात का, तुम्ही बघितलंय का, जिथे तुम्ही आम्हाला कंप्लेंट दिली होती ती झालीये का नाही. त्याच्यामध्ये एकच मुख्य असं होतं की ज्यांनी कंप्लेंट केलंय त्याचं नाव कुठेच नव्हतं. नाही तर जो कंप्लेंट करतो, खूपदा असं होतं लोकल अथॉरिटीज जे असतात तिकडचे तुमचे नेता, ते येऊन त्यांना घाबरवतात की तुम्ही का असं आमच्या विरुद्ध कंप्लेंट केली. तर इथे त्यांचं नावच कुठे नसायचं, तर कोणी त्यांना त्रास झाला नाही म्हणून ते कंप्लेंट करू शकले आणि ते काही त्यांचे जे प्रॉब्लेम्स आहेत ते सुटू शकले. तर अशी आम्ही वेबसाईट तयार केली होती. तर ही टेक्नॉलॉजी इनेबल्ड होती, कारण आम्ही मॅपिंग केलं होतं, GPS मॅपिंग केलं होतं, मग त्याची सगळी डेटाबेसेस केले होते. तर ह्या प्रकार छोटे गोष्टींमधनं आपण खूप काय प्रयोग करू शकतो. खूपदा आपण सोसायटीज मध्ये राहतो, आपण बघतो की ओला कचरा असतो, सुका कचरा असतो, लोक सगळा गोळा करून एकाच ठिकाणी कचरा गोळा करतात. जेव्हा लहान मुलं मदत करू शकतात, सांगू शकतात की आपण हे केल्याने मदत होते, जरी आपण आपल्या घरात ते करू शकलो, दर मुलांनी आपल्या घरात जरी ते केलं आणलं, तर मला वाटतं ते बघून मोठी लोक विचार करतात की एवढ्या लहान मुलांनी हे आपल्याला सांगितलंय तर आपण हे नक्कीच करू शकतो. तसे छोटे प्रयोग आपण करून पुढे जाऊ शकतो असं माझं मत आहे.
Okay. There is a request from Shabana. She says that could you also speak a little bit in Hindi because she's finding it difficult to understand Marathi and English as well.
Okay.
We'll take a little pause over here. Bushra has raised her hand also. Let me spotlight Bushra. Let her ask the question and then I'll request you to again repeat a snippets of it in Hindi again. Bushra, मैं आपको add कर रही हूँ spotlight में, आपको unmute कर रही हूँ. आप unmute कीजिए और question पूछिए.
Namaste, ma'am. Myself, Bushra Imran Sheikh. I'm from Sanjay International School, Attigre. Ma'am, my question is that how can we encourage women for fighting against any abuse things?
Okay. There are many helplines for women. So I think that if you have a problem of abuse and you have no one to tell, you can dial the helpline, give them your number, give them your details, because they will keep it anonymous. That is, वो किसी को बताएंगे नहीं. So you can use these helplines, and it is important that you keep the helpline people in the loop. There are many NGOs for that. I think, Gauri, maybe we should work together to put this database of helplines for different areas together. I think that will be the need of the hour. So we can definitely do that, and that is one option you have. There are many NGOs who do help women and children. The question is possibly, again, there is no database and these young girls have nowhere to go. So हमारे एक प्रयत्न रहेगा कि हम एक हेल्पलाइन की आपकी मदद कर सकते हैं, और वो हेल्पलाइन के दरमियान आपको पता चलेगा कि यहाँ आपको मदद मिल सकती है.
We'll definitely work together. Thank you, Bushra, for your question. Let me spotlight Aditi, who also wants to ask a question. Aditi, yes. Please unmute yourself.
Hello, ma'am. Myself Aditi Manwadkar from Takshila School, Sangli. Ma'am, girls are generally just taught to fit into glass sleepers rather than shatter the glass ceiling. So, what are the things that parents should keep in mind while upbringing their girl, and what me as a future girl citizen of this nation could do at her level since now to better the situation of girls in future?
No, could you repeat the first part of your question again?
So she was asking about glass ceiling, where women are still conditioned to fit into the prototype of what a woman should do. But if someone wants to break that glass ceiling, for her as a future working woman or a career woman, if she has to break that glass ceiling, what things parents have to do and what things she has to do is her question.
Okay, that's a very good question. And that's very progressive. So here are two things. As I said, skill. You have to skill yourself. If you don't want a glass ceiling, you have to be as good as the others. There's no shortcut to that. There's no shortcut to hard work. And reservation is the last thing one has to ask for. Because when you ask for reservation, then it's all going to start working against you. So you don't want to ask for reservation. You have to excel in what you do. Try and do that. And in spite of that, if problems occur, there are ways, even in organizations, where you can escalate the matter. So you need to, even in your organization, start tracking everything that you're doing. It's very simple. When you are on email, if you've done work, sometimes it is not appreciated. You can keep sending emails, keep a record of all the work you do if you're working in an organization. The same thing occurs even in school, that occurs everywhere. So you need to do that for pretty much everything. Keep a record of all the work you do so that you are aware, and you can also see how much better the others are. Because if you don't keep a record of what you're doing, how do you know that you are not as good as the other person? All of us think we're very good, but does the management think you're very good? And what is the management expecting out of you? So that's what you can do. What can parents do? I think they need to treat their girls equal to boys. Empowerment is equality. When you have a daughter and a son, there should be absolutely no difference. They are both the same children. And that is what, if your parents have not done for you, you should do for your children, for sure. If you do that, if you treat them equal in every possible way, there is no question about a complex. Absolutely no question. And in fact, when we speak of women's rights, I always feel that, parents need to give equal inheritance for their girls. I have seen in India, parents do not give equal inheritance for their girls. Now that's no good, because if your parents don't value you, how will outsiders value you? And tomorrow you're going to become parents. So you have to value your own children. If you wanted value and what all the stuff that happened to you which you did not like, you have to make those changes for your children and for your daughters.
Thank you, Aditi, for your question. Now I request Yuga to ask the question. Before that, let me request everyone who wants to ask a question, please start your video so that then I can add you in the spotlight. Without your video, I cannot add you into the spotlight. Yuga, you can ask your question. You are still muted, my dear. Unmute yourself. Yes.
Good evening, ma'am. I'm Yuga Sambari from Goa Science College, 12th standard. And my question is that I wanted to ask you, ma'am, that most of the girls in today's world have, have gone through eve teasing, and we all know it. All girls have gone through it. And I have the question that the people on the roadside, they just make very dirty and very hurting comments, which just sometimes we can't just take that inside. So how to react on such comments and how to react on eve teasing on road, basically just to protect yourself from these dirty comments, how to do that?
You know something, you can never stop someone from speaking. Anyone can speak whatever he wants, right? But
Yes.
you can stop yourself from, you can actually ignore him. And the way I see is you ignore and move on. And as Dr. Putbagi said, definitely have self-defense. Now, there are different kinds of self-defense. So you see which sort of self-defense works best for you. You know, there's karate, jiu-jitsu, there's judo, there's Krav Maga. So you need to learn some of that. You definitely need to. And as I said, you need to have a strong body. You have to have a very strong body and a very strong mind. Don't let your emotions guide what you're doing. Let your head guide what you're doing. They want to provoke you. They want to get you engaged in a physical fight. Don't let that happen. Ignore and move on. But if they come anywhere where they are going to even touch you, that's where you need to have your weaponry in order. You need to have your own weapons. There are people who carry pepper spray. There are people who you can carry different things. And for self-defense, it's all fine.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Yuga. I will remove your spotlight. Before I ask Sai to ask a question, there's a question which is there on the chat. I'll just read it out. Yeah. So that question says, ma'am, I have a question. I don't think I can on my camera and mic because of some reason. But the question is, people talk about women empowerment and that's absolutely great. But before we as a girl can encourage others, should we first practice it in our home? And in the country like India, people, especially a bit elderly women, normalize women abuse. Common example is a husband abusing his wife. So, like, how can we make women realize that it's actually very, very wrong?
You know, I think each individual child has a place in her family. And if there's, you know, what I mean by a place in her family is that there's a certain amount of respect every child creates for herself in her own family. So there's some girls who are very strong and very strong-headed and they stand their ground. So, you know, actually parents, they respect you and they're also scared of you. So I think that you should be able to create that spot for yourself in your family where you're taken seriously, you know. So when you're taken seriously by your parents, you can have a conversation saying that this is not okay. I have rights. And today there are, maybe, you know, that's another thing we could do is these girls who are here, their parents could also come for a talk on children's rights, because today children have rights. They have lots of rights that we don't even know. They don't even know they have the rights, so they can't even ask for help. So if we are able to communicate this to parents, then I think they will also behave themselves.
Right, right. Sai, can you can ask your question.
Yeah, thank you so much. So we were talking about breaking the glass ceiling, right? Someone else asked that question.
generationally, there's a difference in the way that you treat women's rights. Like, I would be more progressive than my mom. My grandmother would be less progressive. How do you start that conversation about, okay, I don't want to be a typical, housewife, get married. I want to do work. I want to be a working woman. How do you sort of broach that subject with someone of the older generation?
Yeah, I think as you said, every generation is progressive, right? So you have to have lots of communication with your mother. What is important is your mother has to understand you. No mother wants to hurt her child. Now, why is that mother always feeling that this girl needs to get married? She's actually protecting you, because in our kind of a country, a woman staying alone is like everyone starts targeting her. So they don't want you to become that. To allow people to target you. So they're trying to protect you by conforming. The best way you can protect a child is to conform. Everybody is getting married at a certain age. My child will be left behind. So what happens? So my point is, she has to be convinced that you really are a career-minded person. You have excelled in school, you've excelled in college, you have done so many things, you're very independent, and actually you're earning, you can actually live without being married. The day she understands that, and she understands that that's going to make you happy, she will allow you to do that. She is only looking out for your happiness, because remember, her circumstances were different and yours are different. She is gauging you by her circumstances, which are like a decade or 2 decades older than what your circumstances today are, or the opportunities that you have today. I think the opportunities today are a lot more than the opportunities your parents had.
Thank you. Thank you, Sai, for your question. I request Deepika to ask a question.
Good evening, ma'am. I just wanted to ask you one question. What strengths do you feel that a woman has when she is working in this male-dominated society? So what are the hurdles, whether you have faced any, or what you feel like these are the strengths which lead to a success as a woman?
I think women are always underestimated. And actually, that's your weapon. It's always good that people underestimate you. It's very easy for you to overcome people who have underestimated you. It's very difficult to overcome people who have overestimated you. Because then they prepare a lot more, right? If you think there's a huge army going to attack you, they're going to have this very strong set of people, then the king will start adding more guards. If you think the person who's coming is very weak, you will have no guards at all. So I think that sometimes it becomes a self-fulfilled prophecy. The bottom line is just this. You have to create your own skill. There's no shortcut to hard work. Most women start using all the laws for women for destructive purposes. And, so I think the minute you do that, you actually are harming the cause of women. People get married and they concoct this whole thing of abuse, they concoct many things, and just for money. And I think if you do that, then you're actually hurting those girls who really need that help.
Thank you, Deepika, for your question. Thank you, ma'am. I will now request there is Ridhima who has raised her hand. I will spotlight Ridhima. Ridhima, you can ask your question. Just unmute yourself. Next, I will ask Aboli Chile, just start your video so that it's easier for me to spotlight you. Yes, Ridhima.
Good evening to all of you. I'm Ridhima's mother, Vidya.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello. Ma'am, just before I would even ask my question, I would like to humbly thank you for your valuable time, Pratima ma'am, and I would like to thank Rotary Club as such for giving this exposure to our children. I was so thankful when I received an invitation from school for this program. When my daughter received this invitation, I was so thankful. I haven't even heard Pratima ma'am speak ever before. But when I was growing up as a child, I always felt, these are some great figures born with great fortunes, and they belong to some place which is so distant to us, which is so not reachable to us. But with such programs, I think my child today is getting an exposure to hear to people like Pratima ma'am, to get an exposure of what Rotary Club is, what these clubs are doing, and I feel even inspiring words from people like you, ma'am, uh, can be a turning point for some child who is attending this meeting. So I would really like to thank you in the first place. And I have a small suggestion, if that makes any sense, because I'm really not sure if such programs are already been organized. But I feel that these children who are attending this program today will be future citizens of India, would be a Rotarian, would be an Indian who would carry forward the legacy, right, for our country. So if more and more such programs are organized where children not only get to hear to the inspirational thoughts of great people, and if they get a chance to work, if they get a small exposure of coming together, working, seeing the kind of work that's happening around, I think my daughter would not grow up thinking that, oh, these people belong to some other world which is really not accessible to us. So if something like that can be taken up as an initiative, as a parent, I would be really grateful. Thank you so much for listening, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Pratima ji.
I absolutely love your words, and I feel that it's completely doable. Let me see how we can put it together. I will work with Gauri. I've taken down some points. We'll record this. I'll go through it again, and I have to do something for all of you and work with you because, I feel our girls, young girls, they are so smart. They are so smart. All they need is a direction. They need someone to just point the way, and they're gone. They just go so far. You can't even believe it that they've actually done that. And I've seen it in my own family. I've seen that with other people's families. So it's very encouraging that even parents are sitting for this meeting. And obviously, you're a very good parent. I have to say that you've taken so much interest in your child that you are right there by her side. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that.
Thank you. This is Aboli. Aboli, do you have any question for ma'am? Just unmute yourself. Unmute ka.
Ma'am, my question is that we all know that we live in a criticizing society. So sometimes people criticize us just because we are girls, just because our gender. So when people criticize us, comment on us that, you are a girl, you can't do that, you are not good enough just because you are a girl. Even I feel demotivated, depressed when someone tells me that you are a girl, you can't do that much. So how to be motivated that time and keep going all the time? How to be motivated all the time and keep going when people tell us that you can't do that just because you are a girl and criticize us by our gender? Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. So do you have access to internet?
Aboli.
Hello, Aboli.
Aboli.
I think she's muted herself.
Yeah.
But I think what...
मराठीत बोलणार तर बोला अबोली तुम्ही.
म्हणजे मॅडम.
Yeah, I have understood your question. Do you have access to internet? तुमच्याकडे internet आहे का?
There is some problem, ma'am.
I see. Okay, so you know why? Because the internet is full of inspirational stories of what women can do. So you know what? Don't let one person criticize you to pull you down. You have to have enough strength from within. Enough strength. What class are you in, Aboli?
Ma'am, I'm in 10th class.
10th class. So, and where are you from?
I'm from Kabnura School, Ichalkaranji.
Ichalkaranji. So what is it that they tell you can't do, that you're a girl and you can't do it? What is it that they tell you?
people think that girls sometimes we see a skinny girl, then people think if a skinny girl says I want to join sports or I want to go in the army, so they say that see a mirror, you can do that, eat something, do something more, then the girls feel depressed. So how to be stay motivated that time and keep going?
I had put up a video of this little girl who had exactly the same problem. So she took things the other way around. Every time they said, you can't speak English, she went and learned English. And then they said, oh, you've learned English, but you don't have a good accent. So she learned the accent. Then they said, you don't have good grammar. So she learned the grammar. So here's what I feel, that let every criticism help you as a step to move one step further.
Okay, ma'am.
Every criticism, every time they say you can't. Did you notice what this lady who got hurt on the tracks? They pushed her off, and what did she say? That's why you learn a sport, because there's no such thing as the end. If I lose a point, I lose it. It's only a point. I can fight again, and I can go back into the next match. And that's important, that there are several matches in your life, and they go on and on and on every day. So one match, if you lose, it means nothing. It is actually telling you how you can win the next match. So you must, do you play any games?
No.
Yes, so you need to play some sport. You definitely need to play some sport. So that will get you the spirit.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Aboli. Manasi, you can ask your question now. Unmute yourself, my dear.
Ma'am, I wanted to ask you a question. I'm Mansi Patil from ISM, Ideal English School, Standard 9th. So it's 2022 and many discussions have taken place on women's empowerment. But still we need to focus on empowerment, that too women's empowerment. And why is this so?
This is so because everybody doesn't think the same way as you do, right? And because there are way too many people and there's so many baby steps, but if every woman decides, you don't need others to empower you. This is my point. My point is, the minute you make others empower you, if he can empower you, he can even remove that tomorrow, right? So if someone who cannot empower you can't remove it. So what you need to do is create it from within. And when you create it from within, you have that spirit. You have to have a spirit. So it is basically in your mind. So you have to create that spirit within you. Nobody is coming to help you. Yes, if you have a problem in your home, you need helplines. I think Gauri and I'm sure Rotary also, we can all put these helplines together. I think somebody said on the chat box, there are some helplines.
1901.
Yes, so please call 1901. That's a helpline. So if you need help, you should call that helpline.
Thank you, Mansi, for your question. Kavya, your question now. Just unmute yourself. Yeah.
Hello, ma'am. Good evening. This is Kavya Patil from Kelly's International School. So I had to ask you that, what were the problems or struggles that you came through or what you faced during your journey, and how did you tackle with those problems?
All that I spoke in my speech are all my problems that I tackled. So you have to be good in a sport. You got to be really good in a sport. You got to be really good in your studies. You just got to be good in what you do. And you got to be brutally honest. If you're brutally honest, nobody can catch you on the wrong foot. You can stand up and fight. So I would want you, with whatever, now today there are a lot more opportunities for girls, a lot more opportunities for doing different kinds of, I had never heard of what's it called? It's a video, what are they called? Video jockeys, right? They do it for, what are they called? I can't even remember the name.
VJs.
It was so, DJs. No, not DJs. They're called jockeys. and they help you on the internet to buy Facebook jockey or whatever that jockey is, who helps you purchase goods and things like that. Look at them.
Influencers.
Influencers. There are so many new spots for people. Today, even your little dog can be put on Facebook and get likes and all kinds of things happen. It's a new world there with social media. So you need to see what works best for you and just keep pushing on. But definitely, you need to create a sport. So you need to create these frames that I spoke about. Why is it important? Because a sport tells you that, yes, there are boundaries, but now those are boundaries and physically you have to overcome them by having a good skill. In education, you have boundaries which are created by science. So you need to have a scientific bent of mind to be able to do something. So I think at least until the 10th or the 12th, you must take science. You should not let it go just so easily, because science is the base of every other study. Every other study will fall back into the 4 or 3 categories of science. And of course, you need to learn some music, because music is esoteric. It doesn't, you have to hear it. You have to use all your senses. And by using all your senses, it actually creates you as a personality. So you need a little of everything to be able to empower yourself to understand, to learn new things as well.
Thank you, Kavya. Shefali, could you unmute yourself, please?
Good evening, ma'am. I'm Shefali from KLS English Medium School, Belgavi. I'm studying in 9th standard. While you were giving your speech, I had a question that you asked us to learn from mythology and talked about Lakshman Rekha and not to cross the limits. And furthermore, while talking about the following the framework, you asked us to think out of the box and not to limit ourselves. So how can we understand that we are in a position to stop, or that like we need to limit ourselves or we need to stop, and is it even right to limit ourselves?
Wonderful. It's a wonderful question. It's a very good observation that I've actually said 2 contradicting things together. But you've forgotten that there's a context. You see, what does intelligence tells you? Intelligence tells you that you always have to refer everything to a context. So in what context are there frames? Now, if you do engineering and you decide to break every rule there and you build a bridge, it's going to collapse. So you certainly need to stay within the context, right? So if you're playing a sport and you break every rule, you'll be disqualified. So what I'm trying to say is science, sports have determined certain contexts. Now, within that, if you are able to be creative, within that, if you're able to do something which is disruptive, which disrupts what is all staying in balance, then I think you've used your intelligence to another level. So that's how you push yourself. You don't have to push yourself to break every rule that is there, because if you do, you will become irrelevant. So context is very, very important. And that's what mythology tells us. There's a context. Now, when you had the Lakshman Rekha, if you know the story of Sita, she herself was a very strong lady. She was as strong as Ram, because as a child, if you know, when she was sweeping the floor, she picked up the bow and put it on her side. Do you remember the story of Sita? So the point is, what is it? Mythology is only metaphorical. It is using a figure of speech to tell you something, to communicate something to you. So you have to use the context, which is very, very important. So for everything, you need to use the context. Have I answered your question?
Thank you. Thank you, Shefali, for your question. There are a few questions which are on the chat box. I'll just read a few out because we've not been able to take those questions also. There was one question which was financial independence. Pooja Marathe asked, I think, about financial independence and the importance of financial independence for women. And then there was another one. I'll just read out a few questions, ma'am, so that then you could take all of those together.
Okay.
Just a moment. I'm just looking at these questions now. So there is Shreyasi Patil. One is financial independence. Second is Shreyasi Patil has asked, when girls are in their teenage, people tell them to protect themselves. So my question is, why don't we tell boys to see very good vision? Because I think if we save one girl, we save one. Yeah, so it's basically that when so much is spoken about girls, why don't we tell boys how to behave? That's another question. And there was a question on that lines only a little earlier, which was, someone has spoken about how girls should be treated. I would really like if Pratima ma'am would share with us that even at times boys are asked to sabotaged for being girly, or girl is made to be felt bad for being masculine. How would you address that question? And the last one is where Dhruva Tahsildar from Kankavli is asking a question. How can we improve the confidence level of women who are facing abuse from their surroundings and from that person's home?
Yeah. So I think the last question is the most tricky. Maybe we should take that first. That,
Okay.
you know, if you have, again, abuse in your own home, you certainly need to call the helpline. Because there are several NGOs who specialize in this work. I don't know if you've heard of Masoom. That's one more NGO that specializes in it. So do take the help of that NGO. Do not overlook this problem. And I think the call number is 1901. Is that what you said, Gauri?
1901 was Women Helpline. What was
Women's Helpline? Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what this girl needs if she's being abused. So she needs that. You can contact Masoom. Gauri, if you have the number of Masoom, which is a Pune-based organization, you may please connect these people together. If this person leaves his number behind. So I'd suggest you definitely need to address abuse, because that can get worse, and this child will start getting very severely depressed. The second one was on, I think, financial independence. And yes, certainly girls need financial independence. You have to aim and strive for it. You have to be aggressive about getting your financial independence, because only when you have financial independence will any other decision that you take make sense. Otherwise, you won't be able to take any other decision if you're not financially independent. The next question was?
There was how to develop confidence in women.
Yes, confidence in women. You know, confidence comes through excellence. When you start excelling in some stuff, in whatever you do, a great amount of confidence builds up. So you need to excel in what you're good at. So you need to first figure out, what are you good at? Is it studies, or is it a game? Is it an art? Is it a craft? Is it music? You please pick up something that you're good at and excel in it. There is no shortcut to that, because confidence only comes with skill. So create that excellence in yourself to get that confidence. There was one more question where they said, you know, boys, some girls are being teased if they are boyish, and some boys are teased if they are girlish. Now, these are, our society has not evolved into understanding these different types of people. So it does not matter. It does not matter. You excel in what you're doing. Even if you are a girl who likes to mimic a boy or likes to be boyish, maybe it's a phase, maybe it's not a phase, maybe it's something more serious than that. It does not matter. Just pursue, and whatever you do it well. If you want to go into wrestling today, they have girls in wrestling, and they've excelled in it. There are girls in boxing, there are girls in wrestling, there are girls in weightlifting and javelin, name it. You need to find a place where you will fit the best and just go for it. Do not stop. Nobody can stop you. Nobody can stop you.
Okay, now we'll go to the next.
So there's a line here, 181 it's saying there, 181 All India Helpline.
Okay. Because, yeah. So basically what we are trying to say is that we are not experts in giving you opinion about abuse, when abuse or any specific help is required, you need to get yourself help from an expert. And people who are on the other side of the helpline are far more experienced than us to deal with these issues. And they also can keep confidentiality, which is an essential for a person who is going through abuse. So in case if you know anyone who's going through abuse, or if you feel that you want to voice out a certain thing against abuse, helpline at this stage is the best way to go, because then your name or your anonymity stays in place. And that's what ma'am is trying to say again and again. So we understand that you are asking a question and that you yourself are not abused. A few people thought that they are abused, but it's not the case. We just want you to say that in case if you feel there is anything wrong done, there's always a way to call up the helpline, because then they are more equipped to listen to you. It's almost 6 o'clock. I will take another two or
Gauri, Gauri, hi, Tanvi. I just wanted to say something here, have something to add over here.
Please,
if I may so.
One sec. I will just add you as a spotlight. If you could just start your video. Yeah, Tanvi.
Yeah. Good evening, Pratima ji. I've been listening to you, very, very inspirational. I'm sure the children today are going to take a lot of takeaways from you today. Pratima, just wanted to let you know that I'm actively involved with Young Indians at the Goa chapter, which is a part of CII. And we have been doing a lot of work with relating to Masoom and Childline. And here in Goa itself, Gauri, we have personally sensitized more than 10,000 school children on child sexual abuse. Okay. I just want to show you this particular leaflet. All right. We have created this, and I don't know, I think we must have distributed more than 50,000 of these in the schools of Goa. All right. I would want this girl, whoever has asked the question, she could call up 1098. That is the Childline number. All right. And she will definitely get someone pick up the phone from the other side, and they will hear her problems, and the issue can get sorted out. So whether if she requires counseling, or if the person needs to be reported, whatever it is, a short action will be taken on this. So once again, the Childline number is 1098. Whoever had asked that question can please note down, and all the girl child who are present here right now, please note this number. It is 1098. This is a pan-India number, and you can call it from your mobile phone, you can call it from your landline, from wherever they want to. And there is also a women helpline number, which is 1091. So if these children are getting exposed to their mothers who are facing domestic violence, and they are feeling helpless, they can call up 1091. That is the women helpline number. That's all from me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tanvi, for that information. It really makes a lot of difference. I will remove you right now from the spotlight. I have Yuga, who has already asked the question. I'll just take 2 or 3 more questions because I don't want it to go further long. Shefali, have you already asked question and you've still raised? Okay. People who have asked questions, please lower their hands so that it's easier for me to give chance to a person who has not asked the question as of now. Okay. So Shumaila Sub, I will now ask to unmute yourself. Shumaila.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, can you start your video? Is your video started?
Yeah, it started.
Okay, I will now add you as a spotlight. Yeah, Shumaila. Okay.
Ma'am, first of all, I would like to thank you for giving the opportunity to speak. And second, I actually want to ask ma'am an opinion about an incident which happened some time ago. As it was a very violent incident, it happened at some time ago. A girl, she thrashed a cab driver. You may have known that. It was because while she was crossing the road, the cab driver was going to mistakenly crash the car over her. But he stopped at the right time. But still, she was thrashing him in front of everyone. And I don't think she had the right to do that. It was really a very disturbing act. It gave people a misleading idea about feminism. it gave them it misleaded them and make them misunderstand the idea about the right which are given to the women. Because of her, many of the girls were being misunderstood. And even so many, they thought that there were some, of course, there were some toxic people. They thought that the girls shouldn't have been given the right as much as they have right now because they are becoming more and more arrogant. So I want to know your opinion about this. I really think it was a very disturbing act.
Okay, thank you, Shumela, for your question.
So Shumela, that's exactly my point, is that you need to keep a sense of balance. You see, the idea is equality. The idea is not to tip the balance to again make boys vulnerable now. That is not the idea of society at all. So for all this, you need a sense of balance and you need well-balanced people. So when you create these rules, and if you, as other girls, when you find that this is wrong, you can talk about this. You can talk about it on social media. So what happens is rules start getting more and more refined as people start helping out with this. So it can tomorrow be that, if a woman is being abused, they'll say, yes, were there any witnesses for this? So they will keep on refining the rules. And when you refine the rules, then you come down to a fact, because even rules evolve as society evolves. Everything is changing. Today, there are rules which are evolving for women. They have changed the rules where women could be totally disconnected from their father's property. Today, they said they have some property. The question is, by the time they enact it, it may be time. But I absolutely agree with you. Many times when rules are created, they're misused and the rule is abused. So it's up to all of us to make sure that we stick and help others stick to the rules so that the women who really need help get that help. Otherwise, you're depriving a girl who really needs that help of being trusted.
Thank you. Maithili, could you ask your question now? Just unmute yourself.
Thank you for giving me a chance to speak here. And I've been waiting for this opportunity from a long time. So my question is, what would you suggest the girls of the age of adolescence right now, which are having many dreams in their life and they are dreaming to achieve something goal in their life. So what would you suggest?
Yeah, it's good to dream, but as I said, keep your dreams realistic and take baby steps. You take your long dream, you know the end point. You come to today, and every day you create a baby step. You cannot have a dream and think that in 1 year or in 3 months I will achieve everything. So take your baby steps every day. You break it down into a daily routine, what you're going to do to achieve your dream.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I have another question, and that is, I have an interest in karate, and nearby there are no many karate classes, and here there are no dance classes, anything here, and I have interest in many of them, and I would like to suggest one thing that if any girl needs she has any dreams, would anyone help her or encourage her?
Absolutely. Do you know there are lots of courses of karate which you can get online? People are using the internet to exercise, so you can do that for karate too.
Yes, miss.
And which village are you from? Where are you from?
I'm from Gokarna and Madangiri, called a village called from Karnataka, and I've been learning karate from my school, BJ Central School, but now it's a after a lockdown we have been going to the school, and there are no physical activities in our school, not allowed it. And so I've been I think that my dreams are been getting down and down because I'm not practicing it anymore. And since I was from fifth grade, I was having a dream that I would win an Olympic from I would go an Olympic for karate. That's why I told you that thing.
No, I don't think your dream should go down. This is a pandemic, right? So it's an emergency. So in an emergency, you cannot say now I'm going to start playing karate because you might, the virus may get you, right? So what you could do is while you're in your home, you could do all the exercises that karate teaches you, strengthen your body.
Thank you, Ms. Thank you, ma'am, for your wonderful
suggestion.
Thank you.
Maitali, I'll also come in. We have a club called Gokarna Rotary Club. I will definitely tell my president there to do something for your school so that you all have been engaged. Don't worry. We will put the people from Gokarna on job. Don't worry. Huh?
Thank you, sir.
See,
Thank
you
you
saw
so
your
much.
angel. See, you saw your angel right there. So this is life, you know. You have to take those steps and people come and help you. They see you really want to do something. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, DG Gaurish ji. Ranjana, can you ask the next question? Okay, and we have another 4 more questions to go. Yeah, Ranjana. I've asked you to unmute. Yeah, please.
Good evening, ma'am. Myself, Ranjana Kurgaonkar from Sindhudurga. I want to ask you a question. How can women navigate power structure?
Navigate power structure. Wow, that's quite a question. So what school are you in? What's your age?
I'm from 9th standard. My age is 16.
Okay, so what structure do you want to navigate?
How can we confident?
You want to be confident. As I told you, do you play any sport? Do you play any sport at all? Can you hear me?
Ranjana, can you hear me? I think she got disconnected.
Yes. Okay, so we just move on to the next question.
Yes. So basically what ma'am had already spoken about the glass ceiling effect. She's also spoken about taking a sport. She's also spoken about not giving up. So all these things, if you hear, will help you go ahead and break those power structures. You need to be consistent. That is the only thing which is expected out of you. Jawad Khan Pathan, could you ask your question? He's been there. He's one of the few boys who's been attending and has a question.
He needs to unmute himself.
Yeah, I will ask him.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes,
Hello.
yes, Jawad Khan.
A very good afternoon, ma'am. My question was, being the future men of the India, the future citizens, how can we contribute to empower women?
Wow, that's such a nice question. And I think, do you have any sisters, Jawad? Do you have any sisters? I think the connection is weak.
No, ma'am. Ma'am, no.
No. So, you know, as I said, if
I have cousins that stay at my house.
Okay, so, you know, the thing is,
We have a joint family.
That's very nice. So, you know, if you have people in your home or in your school and you treat them all equally without any differentiation, I think that makes a very big difference. So if you're able to imbibe that within you and remove all prejudices, now these prejudices have come with time. If you go back in the history, you'll find huge, large number of women who were actually had more power than men. And I can tell you some, like Genghis Khan's daughter. She was as good as Genghis Khan, and you know he was an invader. So she was very strong, and she was the one who organize his army and things like that. So I think there are huge stories which are inspirational, well beyond our time. And so you need to empower people, but I do believe that equality is the trick here. Sense of balance is the trick here. So you don't want to tip this balance, because by tipping the balance, it's not going to be good for anyone at all.
Thank you, Jawad, for your question. Shabana, could you ask your question?
Yeah, good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I have a request for you that just like how that girl said, means a boy should not, even for boys also, then we must understand that not to see a girl by a wrong side. So I have a request that you encourage every girl by your words that I hope you're understanding.
Yeah, I think I'm understanding, but I'm not quite sure whether I understood it. But yes, as I said, it's equality. You're not here to pull one or the other down. You're here as mature people. Those people who are immature are the people who lack this sense of well-being for others. And I think it is all a part of sanskar, and it actually exhibits your sanskar. So I'd say
I
that
want to ask, means some people in their families also, they don't, some girls hesitate to say that in their families also, they have fear. So I want that you encourage that girls by saying your precious words.
but a fear of what? I didn't understand. Fear of what?
They have fear, means their family will say them only,
I see. Blame
they
them.
will, they have the fear that their family will go and say them only, that you only have did something. They have that fear now.
Yes. Okay. I get it. Yeah, I get it. But for that, I think, Gauri, you need to get the parents of these girls on the call.
Right.
So next time, maybe you can arrange
We
for
could
the
do something
parents
for the
of these.
parents also.
Yes. I think that's what they need with their children.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Angela, what was her name? Angelina, could you please ask your question? Mute yourself.
Maybe she can't unmute herself. Is that right? Maybe you need to unmute her.
No, I've asked her to unmute. I have requested her. If you have, okay, till then, Anaga, could you unmute yourself and ask your question till Angelina unmutes herself?
No, I think Angelina cannot unmute herself.
Okay, so then there is something with the connection. Angelina, yeah, okay, she could now. Yeah, just ask. Oh, you just muted yourself back. Could you ask the
You
question?
press it again. Press it again.
Yes. Yes.
Good evening, ma'am. I'm Angelina D'Souza, class 8 student from Sindhuraga Vidyaniketan School, Bengaluru. So thank you, ma'am, for sharing your wonderful information on girl empowerment and you being one of the iconic role model for teenager like us. I belong to a middle class family and wish to become a successful businesswoman in future. Just would love to hear a guiding note from you. Thank you.
You want to become what? I could not hear that very clearly.
I want to become a businesswoman in future.
Okay.
A good woman. A good woman. Is that what you said?
Businesswoman. She wants to become
good
a
businesswoman. Okay. So you want to become an entrepreneur. So if you look around you, there are a lot of things that you can learn. Some people started some business around vegetables during the pandemic. Nobody could go out, right? So they said, well, there is a truck coming in, and they aggregate. You know what aggregation is? That there are 10 people who want vegetables, and you ask them, how much do you each want? And you collect that, and you say, okay, now I want 10 kilos of one type of vegetable, and you do the purchases and get them delivered. So they're small things, and they could be in your own building. It could be some old people who don't know how to use the internet, and you go and help them. And you can do little things like that for you to start a very small business in a very, very small way. And as I said again, start with baby steps, make it successful, and then move to the next level.
Thank you. Anagha, could you ask your question? We can't hear you, my dear. We still can't hear you. We can just see your lips moving.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I'm from Kendriya Vidyalaya Chekori, Belgaum district. My question is, why is some of the girls humiliated in school or by friends in classes by the way of dressing sense, interacting with teachers, or by with straightforwardness which he has? as I personally felt that it's happening with me. So this is my question.
That's exactly why most schools have a uniform, so that everybody is uniformly dressed. So, again, there is no solution to success. Just succeed. The minute you succeed, you will find everybody will just stop talking. So don't let your uniform decide who you are. Don't let your clothes decide who you are. Let your caliber decide who you are.
Thank you, Pratima ji. We'll go to the next question. Priyanka, could you ask your question? Just unmute yourself first. After Priyanka, it's Gauri, and after Gauri, it's Ovi Zoshi.
Hello, ma'am.
That finishes our. Yes. No, first Priyanka. Priyanka, you ask a question.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Hello.
माझं नाव प्रियांका विरकर, मी कोल्हापूरमधून बोलते. माझा प्रश्न असा आहे की जे मुलींनी आपल्या सेल्फ डिफेन्ससाठी काय करायला हवं आणि जेव्हा रस्त्यावरून जात असताना मुलांच्या वेगवेगळ्या कमेंट्स किंवा वेगवेगळे रिॲक्शन्स त्याच्यावरती आपण काय रिॲक्ट करावं?
ओके, मला दोन तीन गोष्टी म्हणायचे वाटतात. एक तर तुम्ही कराटे किंवा सेल्फ डिफेन्सचा कुठला पण कोर्स करू शकता, कुठला पण. आणि आपले काही पारंपरिक कोर्सेस पण असतात जे लाठी चालणं वगैरे हे सगळं शिकवतात. प्लीज शिका ते. जर तिथे कोण शिकवायला असलं तर ते शिका, कारण ते शिकून तुम्हाला त्याचा उपयोगच होणार. दुसरी गोष्ट, आपण केव्हा बाहेर जातो हे महत्वाचं आहे. आपले पूर्वज नेहमी म्हणायचे की तुम्ही अंधारात जाऊ नका, शक्यतोवर जाऊ नका, मोकळ्या गल्लीत जाऊ नका, जिथे तुम्हाला पुढे मागे काही दिसत नाही जाऊ नका, एकांत स्थानी जाऊ नका. तर हे काही गोष्टी एखाद्या बाईला सगळं विचार करूनच पुढे करायचंय. कारण एक लक्षात घ्या, सगळं काही झाल्यानंतर पण रडून त्याचा काहीच उपयोग नाही. त्यापेक्षा तुम्ही कुठे जाताय हे सांभाळून जा, हे महत्वाचं. तुम्ही काय कपडे घालता, असे कपडे घाला की तुम्ही पळू शकाल. Wear trousers, wear kids. And of course, self-defense is something I strongly recommend all of you should do.
Yes. So there was a request to repeat what you said in a short in Hindi or English, because there are a few who couldn't understand Marathi.
Okay.
So she was just speaking about self-defense.
Yeah. So सेल्फ डिफेंस में आप कराटे, जुजुत्सु, जूडो, क्रैग मागा, ये कोई भी आप सीख सकते हो. हमारे हिंदुस्तानी पद्धति में तो लाठी का भी उपयोग होता है. अगर कोई आपको उधर सिखाने के लिए हो तो वो भी सीख जाइए. और लाठी से जो हम सेल्फ डिफेंस कर सकते हैं वो भी बहुत आसान, वो अच्छी तरह से हम कर सकते हैं. आप ये सीख लीजिएगा. दूसरी बात, आप कहाँ जाते हैं, एकांत स्थान जाते हो, आपके एग्जिट पॉइंट्स क्या है उधर, ये सब आपको जानकारी होनी ही चाहिए. कोई भी आपने अंधेरे के बाद न जाए बाहर. ये कुछ चीजें औरतों को संभालनी है ही. अगर आप ये न संभालें तो यू आस्किंग फॉर ट्रबल. सो व्हेन यू आस्क फॉर ट्रबल यू गेट इट. सो आई वुड से, एंड ऑफ कोर्स ईव टीजिंग आप बिल्कुल इग्नोर कीजिएगा. आप किसी को बोलने से रुका नहीं सकते, इसलिए उनको बोलने दीजिएगा, पर आप बिल्कुल इग्नोर कीजिए, दुर्लक्ष्य कीजिएगा.
So final two questions, Gauri and then Ovi, and then we are closing the question answer session. Yes, Gauri.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Good evening. Good evening, ma'am. I am from Maharashtra, Kolhapur. Myself Bawdekar. And my question is, I am pistol shooter. I recently play for Maharashtra in Delhi. My question is how to inspire the girls for sport. Hello.
Yes, I first of all, congratulations. I like that you're in a sport, and so I think, have you gone there through your school or have you gone there as an independent person?
School teacher.
through school. So your school is already asking people to join sport, but everyone can join the sport they enjoy. They don't have to do pistol. They don't have. There's so many sports they can play. Your school may be offering many different kinds of sports, right?
Yes.
So you have to start bringing in a team spirit. So the minute you bring a team spirit, all your friends will like to join that team,
Yeah.
because that team spirit is going to create good, strong-minded people.
Thank you, Gauri. One final question, Ovi, you can ask the question. Ovi Joshi. She has raised the hand for a long time. That's the last question I'm going to take. Ovi?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, please ask a question.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, there are tasks that are often stereotyped for girls. And if a guy does them better than the girls, then the girls are often embarrassed that a guy is doing girls' tasks, the stereotype girls' tasks, better than them. So they are often embarrassed and scared that how are they going to work with guys if they cannot do the tasks given to them properly. So what should we do about that?
No, let me understand that again. There is a boy who's doing a girl's task. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
And so he's embarrassed. He
So I
need not be embarrassed.
The girl is embarrassed that the guy is doing the girl's task better than the girl. So
oh yeah, that happens many times. It doesn't matter. The girl need not be embarrassed. She may have some other talent that she can do. You see, there are no girls' tasks and boys' tasks, first of all. It is your aptitude to do things. So let's get this out of our mind. This is a girl's job and this is a boy's job. This is passé. This is old school. Everybody has different things that they can do. Sometimes you'll be surprised. You have you heard men are very good cooks, and you always hear that women cook, right? So there's no such thing as a man can cook or a woman can cook. Anyone can cook. If you choose to cook, you enjoy it, you can cook. And that's the same thing for other work. There are many men who are very good in needlework. They're just very good with it. So that it's a good thing. And as I said, in today's day and world, there is room for all.
Thank you, Pratima ji, for sparing such a long time. It's almost 6:30. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and your expertise with these girls. They've really enjoyed it. May I invite Tanvi Sawant to propose a formal vote of thanks? Tanvi, I think she just get locked out. Yeah, Tanvi, I'm just spotlighting you.
Yeah, sorry, the line got disconnected. Can you hear me now?
Yes. I just requested you to give a formal vote of thanks.
Sure. Thank you, Gauri, for that. A very warm, and I'm going to keep this really short. A very warm good evening, everyone. All of you are present here virtually. A philosopher, spiritual leader, and an orator, a Hindu monk, and one of the greatest thinkers, Swami Vivekananda quoted, "The best barometer to the progress of a nation is its treatment of its girl child." Congratulations to each one of you present here for attending this meaningful virtual session on National Girl Child Day on the topic Girl Empowerment. Mrs. Pratima Kirloskar ji, we cannot thank you enough for sharing your knowledge, experiences, and enlightening these young children about girl empowerment. I'm sure post this session, they will all have many key takeaways from your talk and will help them to become more responsible citizens in the future. Rotary International directors are always big motivators for all the meaningful programs we conduct throughout the year. RI Director Rotarian Mahesh Kotbagi ji, thank you for agreeing to grace this occasion and exposing the young kids to the world of Rotary and its works. Our beloved District Governor Rotarian Gauri Toned, you are the inspiration behind all the programs the district has been undertaking. Your support and encouragement has made today's event possible. Thank you for enlightening us with the various noble initiatives the district has undertaken towards supporting girl empowerment. A big thank you from the bottom of our hearts for the faith and trust in us, which is your team. Kudos to Host Club RC Gargis Kolhapur, President Rotarian Deepika Kumborskar, Secretary Rotarian Anaga, and co-host clubs, RC Panchi Riviera, RC Seven Hills Dharwad, and RC Ichalkaranji Textile City. We have 54 participating Rotary clubs for today's event. Your constant pursuit and smooth coordination has made this event big. I would also like to acknowledge the District Girl Empowerment Team and District Secretary Girl Empowerment Rotarian Gauri Shirodkar for conceptualizing this event and this Need of the Hour program for Girl Child. Gauri, it is your hard work and believe in yourself that has given today's magical participation. This is not a part of my vote of thanks, but I would want to tell all the Girl Child here today, Gauri is a woman. She has made this possible because she believes in herself. And I, as a lady, personally believe that everything that each and every woman on this planet wants to do is possible if we believe in ourselves. Finally, no event is successful without an interesting master of the ceremony. A big thank you to Rotarian Sujata for a wonderful virtual MOC. I would like to end my vote of thanks with a motivational quote on Girl Child. She can make hearts melt and she can also rule the world. With this note, thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Tanvi, for the lovely vote of thanks.
Pratima, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Anytime.
May I request President Rotarian Deepika Kumboskar to adjourn the meeting? Just you could declare.
Yeah, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much to all the attendees. Thank you, Gaurish ji. Thank you, Pratima ji, for enlightening our crowd so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gauri, Deepika, well done.
Thank you. We will now thank you. A special mention to Dr. Pallavi and Sandeep Patni from both the Ichalkaranji clubs and Sandra from Panji Riviera. All of them are the club presidents of the clubs, and thank you to all the club presidents and secretaries and district officers who helped us get the students here today. Thank you. I will now end the meeting.
Thank you.
With your permission, sir.
Always.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night. Thank you.
Bye.